YouTube, what's going on? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we got another video here by Red Joker. How rejecting corporate greed saved Japanese biggest anime convention. As we know, corporate greed, it is good for the pockets but not good for the consumer. So let's see what this anime convention did in order to save itself from, of course, the anonymous corporate greed. You know, unfortunately, corporate greed gets to the best of everybody. Selling out, unfortunately, it's how it is. It's what keeps the food on the table, and it helps elevate yourself more than not necessarily the consumer. So let's jump in. Make sure you guys like and subscribe and tell me what you guys think. And of course, let's enjoy the video. Let's go.
Don't you hate it when big corporations prioritize money over the art form and the fans? Well, that's exactly
Yes.
what led to the formation.
That is so true. And I said this in one of my videos. I said that I saw, I feel like it was a scam. I felt like One Piece was a scam. One Punch Man was a scam. I felt like these guys had made so much money. But my thing was, okay, you made so much money. You took 6 years to make a game. How the hell do you fuck it up? Corporate greed, oversaturation, and I just felt like they I don't know, bro. It was just weird.
Of Comic Market, or Comiket, the largest fan convention in the world, featuring tens of thousands of fan-made manga, CDs, art pieces, a weeb's wet dream. But Comiket's fight for freedom went through hell and again. It started in 1975, with 4 people extremely dissatisfied at the state of anime and manga conventions at the time. See,
Yeah.
back then, all conventions were extremely, clout and money based. Most of them weren't fan based, they were held by official
Yeah.
manga publishers. This means that there was a huge gatekeeping system.
of
It
course.
wasn't a place for
Every
free
single
expression
place.
of artists and writers. They worked more like glorified contests. People submit
Lol.
their works, and what could or deserved to be seen at the convention was
Wouldn't make it.
completely decided by high profile mangaka and editors of publishing companies. Creators didn't shit
Which is wrong. I think that is 1,000% wrong. No creators, no mangakas can dictate to me as a consumer what I need. You know, it's supposed to be the fans, but unfortunately it doesn't work that way. As we see with the Game Awards, even the Game Awards, Streamer Awards, a lot of these award shows is payola or bribe. But it's not necessarily them paying people, it's necessarily industry favors. For example, like how IGN, for example, I don't know if you guys know, everybody knows IGN. If you like anime, you like gaming. IGN, when I think, was it Assassin's Creed? If I'm wrong, Assassin's Creed was another game where they literally flew out all of the people in IGN so that they could go and experience Hawaii. Imagine they were showcasing the game in Hawaii. So they flew these guys out. That's payola, that's a bribe. For real.
share works with fans or other creators, they submitted works to these publishing companies to be judged. This also meant many works being effectively censored. These companies only cared about
Censored because you do not pay. That's why you're censored.
money and what fit their vision. These conventions were just effectively a way for the company to find their next publishable, profitable work. So
Yeah.
non-mainstream genres like BL, Yuri, sci-fi, R18 works,
Oh, you're cooked. You're cooked. If you're not shonen, you're cooked.
or even any non-original fan work would never see the light of day. They were even mocked. Like, imagine if only Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, and Solo Leveling would be allowed at conventions today.
That would drive me insane. Literally, I'm a rom-com watcher. I love rom-coms. I like slice of life. You can literally see my freaking wall has fucking whatchamacallit. Let me show you. It has this freaking show. Like, I'm literally a rom-com and like normal watcher. Imagine if it was some Naruto or something that was all over my freaking bedroom. That doesn't make any sense, you know, just to be watching these shows over and over and over again.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
that. In 1975, a doujinshi critique group called Meikyu had
Meikyu.
enough of these BS rules. They wanted to create a true open market for fan-made works, for the fans, by the fans, where everyone could participate equally. This market would be known as Comiket. The ideology? There are no customers at Comiket. only participants. In
Great.
1975 December, the very first Comiket was held at the Japan Firefighters Hall in Tokyo. It was a modest gathering, 32 fan groups and 700 attendees. From the very beginning, there was already some publicity. Ads were shown in magazines like Shoujo Comic, resulting in most attendees being girls who love shoujo works. This was possibly because shoujo wasn't as accepted at the publisher convention, so they needed an outlet. It wasn't a huge event, but it achieved what Make You wanted, an open atmosphere where creators could freely share whatever they wanted and could freely interact with fans.
And that's the whole main purpose of making art. No matter what form, media or content it is, that's the whole main purpose. Sharing with the consumer, us creating art. Honestly, that's the one thing which I really like.
From then, Comiket took place twice a year. August in summer, called Natsukomi, and December in winter, called Huyukomi. In only 2 years, Comiket already outgrew small rented halls with over 100 circles and 2,000 plus attendees.
Nice.
To disperse the crowd and meet attendee demands, every Comiket started to be spread across several days, a tradition that would continue to this very day. Over the next decade, Comiket grew exponentially alongside the emergence of many more anime fan groups, including big franchises like Gundam that drastically increased.
This honestly looks like a convention I would totally go to. This looks fun, enjoyable for the fans, by the fans, and definitely I love conventions where everybody is just a plethora of different mangas, genres, animes, just where we can just like and share and just speak about different things that we like, especially in our medium.
The male attendee ratio. But alongside this growth, Comiket would come to see its first big problem.
I bet now it's gonna be like 70% male, like and 30% women, I bet.
Fan-made parodies. See, the gradual increase in popularity of anime meant that
of course it's parodies. I feel like one thing we can never I feel like parody is a whatchamacallit, it's like a backhand compliment to like a lot of shows. When we think of isekai, a lot of them are parodies. You know, it's just like backhand complimenting. Dude, nowadays I feel like there's just so much shows, so I feel like anybody can make a show. Anybody can make that popcorn cheap show and just roll with it. Yes, I feel like there's always a place for that. We don't always need a Hunter x Hunter, a Mushoku Tensei, a Naruto. We always kind of also need the popcorn, easy to make, easy to fill. You know, I feel like, yeah, that's low-key a back.
compared to before, there were many more parodies of existing anime rather than
course.
completely original works.
And that's I feel like that's the growth of an industry. Think about it. We can even go to gaming. We can even go to movies. Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Avengers. You know, of course, there's always gonna be a parody and a play on any genre.
The 4 co-founders were in disagreement about this trend. Remember, Comiket was formed to not bow down to big manga publishers and let creators express themselves freely.
And that's creators expressing themselves. Let them make the popcorn entertainment, or the parodies, as they say. But I feel like a parody is kind of disingenuous, because it's at the same time it's just art. It's just a different view of like, okay, let's say, what if Naruto was a girl? You know, type shit.
Shift of focus to parodies instead of original works made some concerns that Comiket was losing its intimate creator-to-creator focus. Because, you know, we're using the franchises of these big companies. As a result, there was a split in leadership. One of the original co-founders, Yonezawa, became the official head of Comiket, while some of the other co-founders and a bunch of their staff just left the Comiket committee to form a new convention focused on original works, the MGM convention. This was the time that Comiket completely separated from the original group of Mekyu and became its own identity. Nevertheless, Comiket vowed to keep its philosophy of being a fan community, and this helped Comiket grow explosively like never before. In the 1980s, Comiket had outgrown local halls. The crowd was causing genuine safety concerns. I mean, they already reached 10,000 attendees in 1981, 5 times compared to 2 years ago. And so Comiket found a decent venue to settle at, Harumi Exhibition Hall. Comiket had always been a fan-made event, and hence all staff were only anime fan volunteers who genuinely loved anime and manga. But now it had scaled to the point where they needed to hire actual teams for registration, security, medical aid, and so on. It was a
That's an event, you know, unfortunately.
legitimate organization that admirably stayed non-profit to this very day. And other than stuff like logistics and security, staff today are actually still all non-paid volunteers who just love the convention. Mind you, there was no attendance fee. Going there was completely free. But anyway, as Comiket grew in scale,
that's why it was popular. And the only way that they would make their profit was probably, I don't think they would even make profit. Jeez Louise. Dude, this sounds like, yeah, it sounds like a disaster about to happen. No lie. Or maybe through commission, through the other people.
It would start to face major issues. One being the simple lack of space. At the time, they were only using a portion of Harumi's hall, so there were still way too many circles applying to sell their works at Comiket, and one hall would not be able to hold them all. Hundreds had to simply be declined because there was no space. They first tried optimizing space. Each circle would only be allowed to use one table, leaving space for more groups, but Comiket simply outgrew the capacity it could handle. Comiket then introduced a lottery system. No matter how big of a creator you were, whether your circle could participate would be entirely decided by luck, giving
no, that sounds terrible. Like, I think, you know, they have to do like a commission-based system or something. There needs to be something they need to do in order to get everybody in this whole venue or whatever. I don't know, but the lottery system, it doesn't sound bad, but it just sounds like, man, like there might be that creator that kind of needed this, you know? I don't know.
Small creators an equal chance for exposure, and this was actually fair. Like, even Type Moon, the Dojin circle that led to Fate, once lost the lottery and had to sit out. Comiket was growing explosively though, and these optimizations could not keep up, so over the years, they expanded the number of halls used at Harumi, until they were using all the halls. It was still crowded, lines were, and still are, infamously several kilometers long, but good enough. The venue was at least workable with at the time. The next problem though would not be so easy to deal with. In 1989, a horrifying event, the Otaku Killer, changed Japan. He was a serial killer and did, let's just say, very bad things that I don't want to say out loud to 4 very young girls. And just, it's disgusting. This serial killer, after caught, was found to be a huge otaku with an extensive anime, manga, and hentai collection. And this led to outrage. Many media outlets use this as a
being like, oh, you anime guys are creeps.
scapegoat and casted otaku culture in a very negative light, saying,
oh, makes sense why people feel a certain way about otaku culture even today, where they look at otaku culture in kind of like a negative light. It makes sense why, you know, because of the culture that has been around. But as well, this is a pretty old
these
thing.
Tragedies were caused by...
And you gotta think about it, you know, I feel like, you know, when the change of anime, especially in recent times, was 2019, Demon Slayer. We gotta thank Demon Slayer for kind of like changing the whole perspective of, especially in the modern day of anime and culture. I feel like as well when it comes to like even Kaisen Nat is watching anime. Well, him it's because of his girlfriend was showing him flames, but
violent and pornographic manga, and this led to the general public to have a very bad impression on otaku, anime, and manga in general. The story of the Otaku Killer is a huge one that I can't fully cover here, and there are many videos on it, so check them out if you're interested. This is a big reason why otaku and anime were so looked down upon back then. The Otaku Killer was also found to have attended Comiket, and the press caught onto that. That year, 1989, Comiket...
Of course, the press are gonna be like, he goes to these conventions, so he must.
Staff suddenly found themselves dealing with constant press inquiries, criticism, and public scrutiny. This year was supposed to be a celebratory one. It was the first time Comiket had reached 100,000 attendees, but instead, everyone there was dealing with constant hate. For the combined reason of this hate and now desperately needing a larger venue, the Comiket committee that year finally decided to move out of the densely populated Tokyo to Chiba at the huge Makuhari Messe. At first, this did seem to solve all their problems. Attendance in 1990 even doubled to 230,000. The halls were so large that moving across the event became an adventure in itself. It really showed how pent-up demand was when a bigger venue was available. It was already by far the largest fan gathering in the world, and then disaster struck again in 1991. Yeah, Japan did not get over the Otaku Killer. Throughout those 2 years, politicians and the media were spouting stuff about how anime and manga were harmful. They should all...
but how though? Like that's the one thing where it's like fictional stories, fictional characters. It's like video games. It's like the conversation of like video games now make people into criminals. No, nigga. That's literally circumstance. Literally, bro, that's a whole different topic.
Will be regulated and even wanted to censor these works in bookstores and convenience stores. It didn't help that lolicon and shotacon works were also on the rise at the time. This negative sentiment really spread throughout Japan, and in 1991, Chiba's local authorities and the venue's management randomly suddenly revoked Comiket's permission to use Makuhari Messe when preparations were already proceeding. They were apparently specifically concerned about public outlash regarding R18 dojinshi. Miraculously, the comedian Last Second still managed to get their own venue, Harumi, in Tokyo that year, and through the crowd, still hosted 200,000 attendees, even though it was horrifically crowded and chaotic. But the outlash wasn't just from Chiba's venue. It was Japan, and they needed to do something in the future to solve this. Comiket hence introduced content checks on everything to be sold by circles. They would be reviewed for extreme obscene material that might violate laws, but personally, I think they're probably pretty lax, considering I've walked upon dojinshi with, let's just say, a horse and a lolly when I was last at Comiket. There's no way these rules are strict. What the fuck? If that was allowed, God knows what the fuck they don't allow. The 1990s were okay. They no longer faced any huge regulatory issues regarding otaku being hated, but the venue was still a problem. Harumi was not meant to hold 200k plus people. The crowdedness was unbearable, and particularly at summer
funny enough, when my thought is like, man, where are the black people? Where are us niggas? Where are we? That's the only thought in my mind. Like, bruh, literally, I don't see no black people here. What's going on? Well, it is Japan. 2% of us are represented, so I get it. I know it's Japan.
Comiket, the first aid room got filled with heat stroke cases with many fainted attendees. It took 5 whole years to find a new appropriate venue, but finally, in 1996, Comiket was held at Tokyo Big Sight in Ariake, Japan's futuristic waterfront district. That year broke records with 18,000 circles and 350,000 attendees over 2 days. For comparison, Anime Expo in LA these past few years, over 4 days gets 350,000-ish attendees. And Comiket was doing it in 2 days, effectively having double the crowd of today's Anime Expo in 1996. In fact, Comiket became the first event ever in history to use all halls of Tokyo Big Sight simultaneously. I mean, this venue was huge! Also importantly, the event had gotten so big that even anime corporations like Aniplex and Kadokawa were interested in setting their booth to promote their anime and sell merch. So they got an entire separate hall for corporate exhibitors. Fortunately, it was a completely separate section, so it didn't interfere with the fan doujin culture.
Yeah. Nice. I like that. Don't be shy of the money. Let them come in, but let them be separate from the OGs. Let's let the fans do the thing. Let's let the corporations do the thing. You can't always be fan first. You always got to be making money. These people have families. That's why it's not about corporate greed or selling out. Let's do the fair thing. That's what I like.
Everyone had come to love. But the inclusion of actual anime and game companies just comes to show how far Comiket had come. From rejecting the corporations to the corporations coming to us. The next decades were relatively problem-free. They kinda dealt with some local thugs stealing doujin, there was sometimes horrific weather, and there was once an attempted arson that was thankfully caught by security before it happened, but everything was generally great. Comiket settled at Tokyo Big Sight and expanded their facilities like rest areas, online ticketing, cosplay areas. Attendees surged the 500,000s, and by the 2010s, barring book fairs, if you even count those as conventions, Comiket had effectively become the largest convention in the world, reaching a record 730,000 attendees over 4 days in 2019, absolutely dwarfing the numbers of other conventions. In 2020 though, COVID became a problem. Like much else in the rest of the world, Comiket was unfortunately cancelled in 2020 and summer 2021, marking the first time since its formation 45 years ago.
Dude, every event was cancelled. It's not even that. Every single thing was cancelled, unfortunately.
that a Comiket was cancelled. Fans, however, were not giving up that easily. They
Online.
made a virtual Comiket on Twitter with the hashtag Comiket for all creators sharing their works. Comiket did return in winter 2021, but with limited capacity due to, COVID, to about 55,000 attendees per day. And so tickets for attendance also had to go through a lottery system. You couldn't just go there, line up, and walk in. And more importantly, I'm assuming to cover costs, for the first time, tickets for attendance costed money. Since then,
Yeah.
as COVID measures went away,
Fair. To be fair, I don't mind them charging for tickets. I mean, it is what it is.
Comiket has returned to relative normalcy and numbers returned to pre-COVID. Comiket is an amazing experience. You have all the official merch, cosplayers, doujins, CDs, art pieces. It's a conglomerate of passion and the most hentai you will ever see gathered in one place in the world. All the doujin are so high quality, it's insane. To anyone going to Fuyukomi next week, I'm jealous. Fuck you, have a great time. I actually went to Comiket in 2022 and 2023 and had a great time burning all my money away. Except the first doujin I bought, I thought the cover art looked super good, so I bought it without looking at the preview. Only to realize it was NTR with water sports. Guys, they have previews. Read them before buying. Oh, it's still in my memory.
Dude. Oh no, this is a really fun video, guys. Really fun video. Wait, let me just check out more Comiket. I'm interested now.
Special thanks to Vicente.
Oh, this is fun, bro. This is fun. I like how this guy's so happy.
I want to try and find some like cosplayers and get some videos of them because there's some like really good ones here. But
dude, when
it's actually less busy than I thought.
Come on, Japan, give me a ticket. Literally, I just want a ticket and I go to Japan for real.
It just opened it, so maybe less busy now. But I think after 12, it's gonna be so busy.
Okay, guys. Okay, let's end the video here. If you guys want me to do an official reaction on the whole Comiket thing, I wouldn't mind. But honestly, this was awesome. Like, I love seeing anything that always rejects the corporations, but at the same time, they also embrace them at the end. Cause everybody gotta make money at the end of the day, bro. So I don't hate that, but I love seeing this whole thing of like it being like free, I get why in the early like 80s where they hated the fact that people were coming with knockoffs, not the original work, because unfortunately nowadays it's a whole convoluted thing, isekai basically. So people do come up with like not necessarily traditional work, or like they come up with for example, isekai. We have that time I got reincarnated as a vending machine. That time I got reincarnated with a smartphone. Like the whole same shit, but not necessarily original work. Same mind frame. It's always in the mid 18th centuries with magic and all of that. I get that. I get why they were mad at people, but at the same time, bro, you can't hate on that, because man, how much can people actually create? We can create a lot. Though I'm not underestimating us as people, but at the same time, like, dude, there's a place for everything. I feel like if people want to make that bullshit story, let them make it, But you guys tell me what you guys think. If you guys want me to do a second video on this one, Otaku in Tokyo, definitely will do so. But yeah, make sure you guys like and subscribe. I love watching anime conventions. If you guys see my video earlier, the reason why I still do anime today, reason why I started doing anime videos was Cinder. Cinder actually put me on, and I love her for doing that. She actually helped me find a way to start doing anime videos. But anyways, you guys tell me what you guys think. Like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys, of course, in the next video. Peace out.